So question number 3112 from Mirudo. Find the capacitance of a system of identical capacitors between points A and B shown in the figure. In this figure,
Parallel.
these are all in parallel. What we have to do, we have to find the done.
Yeah, parallel.
C1
We are
plus
Wheatstone bridge, sir.
What about
Wheatstone
B?
bridge.
B is Wheatstone bridge. So
Wheatstone
in,
bridge, sir.
Wheatstone bridge.
then you can determine this
Yes, sir.
also easily, I think. Can you?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you can do this question. And one question is, determine the capacitance of a system consisting of a metal ball of radius A and separated from a infinite conducting sheet which is at a distance. What distance it is from that?
L, sir, from the center of the metal ball.
From this center, it is at a distance L. Infinite sheet, conducting sheet. So infinite conducting sheet we are having, and how to find out? Also, I think given L is very, very large. It tells us that while taking the field lines from A to the conducting sheet, we can assume that this sphere is acting just like a point charge. It does not, induction is not there, much induction is not on this. So charges are uniformly distributed on this sphere. We can think like that. Charges are uniformly distributed on this sphere. If I ask the same question by giving another identical sphere other side at the same distance away, then I think we have discussed such question before.
Two capacitors in series.
This
Yes,
is
sir.
plus, 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 plus. That is minus, 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 minus. So from here,
Distance
the
to
field lines
bridge,
will
sir.
go, field lines we can extend, and it will become a complete closed field lines from positive to negative if I extend these field lines. Okay. If I extend these field lines, this will go to the other side like this. And we have already found out what is the potential difference between this and this. We have discussed it before.
Reflex.
We have discussed this potential difference we have found out before. You remember or not?
Yes, sir. Initially taking
Yes,
one
sir.
VA by
By taking 1 and then finding the potential difference and then multiplying by 2, that was the net potential difference, right or not?
yes, sir.
So if we know this, then I can tell that up to the midpoint, potential difference will be again half of that. Or whatever potential difference was from here to this place due to single, that will be now potential difference due to this and the image from here to this place. Whatever is the potential difference due to the single from the point O to I is for image, let us say, from object to image, whatever is the potential difference due to both,
By 2.
that was double due to single potential, right? So, and also due to both, the total potential difference from O to I is also double of the potential difference due to from O to the sheet S, let us say. We can say VO to I is equal to, if I is real, and it is really existing, actually there is nothing here, but if I is real and it is existing, In that case, I would say VO to I would be VO to S multiplied by 2. But also we know VO to I will also be equal to V from O to I only due to positive, as if other is not existing, only due to positive only. Due to positive plus due to 2 times due to positive only. You understand? O to I, if I assume only positive is existing, negative is not existing, then V O to I total O to I when both are existing, that will be equal to 2 times V from O to I when only one is existing. What does it mean only one is existing? When only I have this, and the field lines from here are moving field lines are radially outwards like this. Field lines are radially outwards. These are not getting curved because there is nothing in its surrounding. This is isolated. If I assume that, and I go from O to here, now point I is existing, but that sphere is not existing. Here I am at a distance, let us say 2L distance away. And this potential difference is nothing but VO to I due to only one sphere, and that is I'm calling it as VOI positive. What potential difference exists from here to here? That I'm calling as VOI only due to positive. Only due to positive's presence. So total V to O to I will be double of VO to I due to positive. Similarly, total VO to I will be 2 times of V from O to S, O to the sheet. It means what is VO to sheet? VO to sheet will be equal to VO to I due to positive. Right or not?
Yes, sir.
Then what that VO to I due to positive is so easy to determine. Why it is easy to determine? Because it is just a uniformly charged sphere now, and which is spreading field in all directions uniformly. Then VO to I we can get directly as K Q by
A. Yes, sir.
A minus K Q by 2L. That is it. So we are getting K into Q into 1 by, which is less here, which is very small as compared to the other. A is very small. Then I think I can neglect 2L part here, right or not? If I don't have to, otherwise, if I don't have to neglect, then it will be, maybe they are giving, it depends on the answer. If they are giving answer, I think they are giving answer in terms of L. Why would they give L otherwise? As far as why they are saying that L is very large as compared to A, so that we can treat it like a uniformly charged distribution, so that we can assume that its charge is not changing in its configuration because of the presence of this sheet. There is no such induction effect, we can say. That's why I think they have given L is very large. But we can write this VOS as KQ by A minus KQ by 2L. Once we know VO to S, what is the capacitance formula? Capacitance is the charge stored upon V net. Okay. So what is the charge stored? Charge stored is Q only, and V net we are getting as VO to S, which is coming out to be equal to Q will cancel 4 pi epsilon naught A into 2L upon 2L minus A. That would be the answer. 4 pi epsilon naught A into 12 upon 12 minus A. That would be the answer.
Greater than A now, sir.
L is greater than A, yes, right?
We can use here 2L minus A is 2L.
Yes, we can do that. Then what we get in that case? Then we get 4 pi epsilon naught A only. So I'm thinking it will be very stupid on the part of examiner to just ask this question, in which I have to just take it like isolated sphere. And it will be very stupid if he has asked, at least it will be stupid in part of us, that we are just treating it like isolated sphere and as if it is not existing. So means he wants us to note down the effect of the conducting sheet. That's why he's asking this question. Otherwise, he would have very well asked us for isolated sphere only. I also thought of initially neglecting this part, but I thought then it will be not making sense of asking this question. So we should not neglect it probably. And I gave you a reason why he is giving then L is very, very large as compared to A. It is not necessary that if he is giving L is very large as compared to A, then he wants you to neglect A compared to L. Maybe he wants us to take this also into account, and he wants us to write this total answer like this only. Then why would he be giving L is very large as compared to A? I gave you a reason. That reason may be different. That reason may be so that the induction effect is not there. Okay, the reason may be that so that the charge distribution can be assumed to be like uniformly distributed charge only. That might be the reason. Okay, so I will go with this answer only, and we can see afterwards. You can also see what is the answer given in your row. Okay. Next, we have another question. That is this one we can take. Find the potential difference between points A and B. Can you do that? It is simple although, but I want you to do that yourself only. This question here. This diagram is not for this, that is for different question, I think. Take reference 0 volt. What is this VA? Unknown. What about this? This is VB is not unknown. If it is 0 this side, then what VB will become? Or I could do this thing. I could take B as reference. I could take B as reference. If I take B as reference, then I will take VA as VA, and the other side will be minus E1, and that side will be plus E2. What would be the equation? Our equation will become VA minus of minus E1 into C1, right?
Yes, sir. VA
Plus
minus E2 into
VA
C2.
minus E2 into C2 plus VA minus 0 into C3 is equal to 0. How many unknowns in this? Just VA is the unknown. Once we get VA, that would be our answer of VA minus VB also, because I have already taken VB to be 0. It means I have to just find VA only. VA will be our answer. So we are getting its answer just in one line, not a difficult question. What they would have asked in this question? Can you guess it? They may have asked here, what is the potential of 1, 2, and 3? Why? They are giving here a reference already, 0. When they give reference, then they can ask the potentials. What is potential of 1? What is potential of 2? What is potential of 3? What is the charge stored across this, charge stored across this, charge stored across this? Can you determine again? How will you determine? I will determine it in this way. I will assume this potential to be V, and this is here 0. Then what will be potential at 1? V1 will be equal to nothing but
V plus E1.
V plus E1.
V plus E1.
V2 will be V plus E2,
E2.
and V3 will be V plus
V plus E3.
V plus E3. Then what would be the equation of KVL, KCL in this? The way I have written here, it will be sigma into Ci into Vi equal to 0. In this total junction here, if I take this junction, in this junction, the charge going through 1 and 2nd and the 3rd capacitor will be 0. Net charge. Why net charge is 0? You remember? Logic is that initially the capacitors are uncharged. This is a disconnected system. It is not connected to external world. Why? Let me tell you which is disconnected system. See, if I take a loop here going in between the capacitors, then this loop is not touching through, no wire is crossing this loop. If no wire is crossing this loop, then the charge cannot enter in this, right? Net charge will be 0 in this. That's why I can write this. What is VI referring to? VI is not V1, V2, V3. VI is referring to potential difference across C1, and that is also actually V1 only. What is the potential difference across C1? V1. What is potential difference across C2? V2. What is potential difference across C3? V3. So I could write C1 into V1, which is nothing but V plus E1,
Plus C2 into V plus E2 plus
C2 into V plus E2 plus C3 into V plus E3 is equal to 0. This equation is same as the above. Don't think this is different. Here also I am taking V1 minus 0. Actually, I am taking C1 into V1 minus 0 plus C2 into V2 minus 0 plus C3 into V3 minus 0 is equal to 0. But here V1, V2, V3 are known already these, so we can get value of V. Once we know the value of this potential V, just after that we can determine all these individual potentials also. And we can, once we know the potential V1, V2, V3, we can determine what is the charge stored in these. Can you determine the charge stored also?
Yes, sir. We're finding the. Yes, sir.
Right. We could ask another question also here. What is work done by battery 1? What is work done by battery 2? What is work done by battery 3? Can you determine that also? First, let us get V value. V is coming out to be.
UV, sir.
V is coming out to be equal to
minus of C1 E1 plus C2 E2 plus C2 E3 by C1 plus C2 plus
C3 E3 minus of all this divided by C1 plus C2 plus C3. V is this, it is negative here. Right. Next is, I know what is the charge supplied by E1 to C1. I know that, right? E1 can only supply the charge to C1. How do we know that? We can make the diagram for E1 and we can make the diagram for C1. And I can take this system here. And whatever enters in this loop, that will enter through this branch. And this branch is connected to the battery. So means whatever charge appears on this face, that is only being supplied by E1. Let us say here charge appears is, what charge is appearing here? Q1 charge is appearing here.
Then Q1 E1 is the work done by battery.
Then work done by battery is equal to Q1 into E1. Now, what is that Q1 into E1? Q1 is
C1 into V
C1
plus
no, V plus C1.
C1 into V
plus C1.
V plus E1, that is equal to Q1. And work done by first battery, let's call it W1, that is Q1 into E1. So our answer is C1 into V plus E1
Plus
multiplied
E1.
by E1, that is W1. Similarly, what is work done by second battery? C2 into V plus E2 into E2. What is work done by third battery? C3 into V plus E3 into E3. What is the work done, sum of works done? W1 plus W2 plus W3. The net work done will become C1 plus C2 plus C3. C1 plus C2 plus C3 whole into V.
V
No,
plus
no,
C1
no, I
V1.
cannot take that.
Sir,
Yes. C1
Sir,
E1 plus C2 E2 plus C3 E3 whole multiplied by V
C1
plus C1 E1 square plus C2 E2 square plus C3 E3 square. That is our net work done by the batteries. If I know net work done by the batteries, do I know what is the potential energy finally? Potential energy is half of Q1 square by C1 plus Q2 square by C2 plus Q3 square by C3. Then can you tell what is the heat energy produced? Heat energy produced will be equal to
W
total work done by
V
battery
minus
W plus U.
minus delta U. Delta U is nothing but U only. So it will be W minus U. That will be heat energy produced. Okay. Another question I can ask probably, what else I can ask? I can say, what is the heat produced in first branch or the second or separate heat produced? I may ask this also. If I ask what is the heat produced in separate branch, can we determine or not? Let me think first myself only. I may have to give a small resistance here. Let us say it has small resistance R1, R2 and R3. So what is the heat produced in R1 and R2 and R3? So that I square R1 and it will be I1 square R1, I2 square R2 and I3 square R3. Those will be the power produced. What is the heat energy produced? heat energy produced can be written as, if upper branch contains I1 square, let us say it has small resistance. Even if it is not mentioned there, you assume it is there. I1 square R1 into dt, power into dt integral will be heat energy produced in the first branch. Let us call it H1. So what is heat energy produced in first branch? In first branch, I'm assuming R1 can be taken maybe like some little internal resistance of the battery. It may be little internal resistance of the battery, whatever it is. I am writing it as R1. So we get it as I1 R1 into I1 into dt integral. What is
dq, sir? I1 into dt.
I1 into dt? We can write dq, but problem is, could I write I1 or not? I'm thinking about that only. Let us first assume there is a small resistance R1 here, and here it is C1, and here it is E1, and here it is 0, not 0, this side it was V, other side it is 0 potential. Now, what would be the equation for current here? I can write the equation for current like this. I can say
plus
By
C1
applying KVL further, can we get I1?
I can say if minus plus, if current is going this side, then I can say
V
V
plus E1
plus E1.
minus I1 R1.
plus I into
Here start
R1
from V plus E1
plus-
minus, how much is the drop? Minus I1 into R1 is the drop. Then again minus Q1 by C1 is the drop.
K1.
And then we are reaching 0 at that other side 0. So we are getting I1 as V plus E1 minus V plus E1 minus Q1 by C1 is equal to I1 into R1. So what is I1? I1 is V plus E1 minus Q1 by C1
minus Q1
by
R1.
R1. Now I am able to tell from here that we can't determine. I think I started taking it. I thought we could, but we could not. Unless we exactly know the values of R1, R2, and R3, we can't determine it easily. Let me tell you what is the reason here. V plus E1 minus Q1 by C1 into I1 into dt we can write as dq1. Now
So
this
1
is easy.
into 1 by R1.
R1 is cancelled.
Okay.
Problem is with V into dq. I don't know what is V into dq. I know E1 into dq is easy. E1 is constant because Q1 by C1 into dq is also easy because Q1 square by 2c we can get it easily. What about V? That is creating the most trouble here. Unless I know V, I can't determine it. And probably we don't have a way to determine this. What was V coming out to be? Let us check once. What was V?
So we are assuming that minus C1 E1 plus C2 E2 plus C3 E3 by C1 plus C2.
We were getting is that was at last, right? We can't determine V in intermediate situation when the current is still flowing. We were able to obtain V at last, but can we? No, we can determine at intermediate situation also. I think so. Wait a second. At any intermediate situation, this equation is still valid. Ci Vi equal to 0, right? Because the charge total will remain conserved. So total charge not only at last, even when it is getting charged, these capacitors are getting charged. Even in those cases, I can apply this equation. Okay. Then V will be this. No problem in that. At any instant of time. If V is this at any instant of time, then no, I could not write this. Could I write this equation? Wait a second. What would be the voltage here? It will be VA minus of minus E1 minus of I1 R1. Those terms will appear. I2 R2 will appear. I3 R3 will appear. So it will be complicated function involving I1 I2 and R3 I3 also. I think we can't determine. Anyway, it was we are not able to determine because this V is coming out to be a complicated function of I1, those values of I1, R1, etc. So we can't determine it. Let us leave it here itself then. What we could do, we could dare only to find out the total heat energy, where we can't dare to find out the individual heat energy dissipated in individual branches, especially in the case when the references are not given. When references will be given, then we can still think of something, but for that we will have to wait. Okay. In this week, we are not taking any question of reference included. One more question was pending, and that is this 3222. Let me take this one. What charge will flow after shorting of the switch SW? Can you tell what charge will flow through the sections 1 and 2? This is 1 and 2, and the second case is this is 1 and 2. You have to determine in both cases, when we close the switch, what will be the current flowing charge flowing through these sections. Try once.
Sometimes then.
Hmm?
Use sometimes then.
You just take some time. Let me stop. Do I need to stop recording, or okay, you continue? I will not stop recording. You continue. Take some time.
Sir, post yesterday's and today's class, sir.
Yesterday's I posted, I think, already.
No, sir.
Sir, not sent yesterday's one.
In YouTube, I have posted already yesterday's class. Lecture
No,
included.
sir, they
Notes,
are
sir.
asking notes.
Okay,
sir.
you are asking
Go-
notes. Okay, right. I will.
go with
Mhm.
classroom.
Please post it
I
in
will
the
post. I will post.
Sir, sir.
Sir, answer is C2 square E by C1 plus C2.
Answer is
C2 square E by C1 plus C2.
have you understood what is the charge in the middle capacitor? E into C2.
Sir, after closing, it will become E into C2. Before it will be C2 C1 by C1 plus C2 into E.
Yes, right. Before closing, it is different. This is after closing diagram. I am making here after closing diagram. Let us call it then. Initially, what it would be? It is E and C1 and C2 are in series. So you are right. C1, C2 upon C1 plus C2 whole multiplied by E. That is initial charge. Let us call that initial charge as Q naught plus minus plus minus. So initially it is Q naught and finally becoming Q. Now I want to find out what is the charge flown through one. If I want to find out what is the charge flown through one branch, then I can do one thing. I can make a loop in such a way which only passes through no other branch but one branch. This is the loop. Let us call this loop as 1, which passes to branch number 1. So what charge can flow through loop number 1?
Initially 0, sir.
Initially 0 charge here, minus Q naught and plus Q naught, initially 0. And finally becoming
Q.
that side 0. This upper C1 has 0 charge here and this lower has Q charge. So what we are getting then finally, in loop 1, final charge is Q, correct? It means what charge must have entered the loop, and if it has entered, it would have entered from where? It would have entered from this one point number 1 only, or it would have flown through the switch only. So the charge which is entering here, let us call this charge which is entering here is Q1. The charge which is entering Q1 is equal to the final charge inside loop minus initial charge inside loop. Okay, this is flowing through 1. Then that is coming out to be just E into C2 answer. Right or not? You got the same?
Sir,
Yes.
yeah.
What?
Nothing.
That only E into C2.
Understood.
That only. What is the charge flowing through 2? In order to find out the charge flowing through 2, I have to take another loop. Let me take a green colored loop now, which is only passing through second branch. This is that green colored loop. And I am drawing that loop again here. Loop 2, loop 2. So in loop 2, what charge enters? Q2 charge enters the loop 2. And what is the final charge here? 0. What was the initial charge here? Plus Q naught. So what I can write the equation for that? For loop 2, I can write the equation as Q2, which is the charge entering, is equal to final charge minus initial charge. What is the final charge? 0. What is the initial charge? Q naught. Then what is the charge entering? Minus Q naught is entering. It means how much is entering? Minus C1 C2 upon C1 plus C2 multiplied by E. Okay. Understood or not?
Understood.
Yes, sir, understood.
Now question is, what is the work done by battery, first battery, and what is work done by second battery? Determine this. Work done by first battery and work done by second battery. Once we know what is the charge flown through the branch, then we can determine work done by battery.
First battery C2 epsilon square.
We are getting first is work done by batteries W1. Work done by battery is equal to battery 1. Q1 into E, which is equal to C2 into E square, right or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is work done by battery 2? Work done by battery 2 will be, remember, the charge which leaves the terminal positive terminal, the charge which leaves the positive terminal, that gives us Q2 into E. If charge is entering the terminal, then I have to take minus Q2 into E. But here, I have assumed charge to be going in this direction. See the arrow. I have assumed charge to be going in this direction. I have assumed charge to be going in this direction. Then I have to take it as positive only, not negative. But I have to put value of Q2 with proper sign. That is different thing. Q2 is finally minus C1 C2 upon C1 plus C2 whole into E. Then it's becoming minus C1 C2 upon C1 plus C2 into E square. That is work done by battery 2. Okay. What is net work done? Again, mainly in this question, I think Irodov has asked simple question only. He has asked what is the charge flown? And probably why he has asked this simple question, because if some students are able to answer this question easily, then after that they don't face any difficulty. They are able to apply this W1 is equal to Q1 into E, W2 is equal to Q2 into E. And once they are able to do this, then they can find out what is the net work done and what is the heat energy dissipated will be. Work done by 1 plus work done by 2 minus change in potential energy of the capacitors, that will be equal to heat energy dissipated. I want you to go up to heat energy dissipated. So what one more idea you should take from here. When they ask the question of heat energy dissipated, so you should have this complete flow chart in your mind. What is the flow chart? Our step 1 will only be to find out what is the charge flowing through the battery. And in order to find out what is the charge flowing through the battery, I have to go through this procedure. Even if they have not asked what is the charge flowing through the battery, that is my first step of the question, where they are asking what is the heat energy dissipated. So first step we have done. What is the second step after that? Step 1 is to determine the charge. Step 2,
Potential.
to write the work done equation. In that work done equation also, be careful. If the charge which is there, which you have determined, if that charge is going away from positive terminal, then positive Q into E. If charge is entering the positive terminal, then work done will be minus Q into E. Write the equation appropriately. After going through step 2, then step 3. Step 3 is work done by battery is equal to change in potential energy plus heat energy dissipated. I can achieve step 3 after knowing delta U. How to know delta U? Final potential energy and initial potential energy. How to determine final potential energy? Separately, half of Q1 square by C1. Similarly, half of Q, whatever charges are there in each capacitor, find out according to that what is the energy stored initially and finally, and then take the difference. Here, final energy, if I have to write, I can write directly finally, easily. Final energy is just in this, and that is equal to half of C2 into E square. What is the initial energy? Initial energy, these two are connected together in series with this. So initial energy will be half of C1 C2 upon C1 plus C2 into E square. I know initial energy and I know final energy, so I can take the difference. U final minus U initial. Then after that, I can get the heat energy also. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Time.
Okay. Yes, I am ending it now. Let us end it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Can you please post PDF of Irodov?
You can get it maybe from the internet. Okay.
Okay, sir.